Welcome to the Neverworld podcast, where together we explore the strange and unusual. Every journey starts with the first step into the unknown.
Hey, welcome to Neverworld Podcast. I'm Scott, and there's Dave, and we thought we'd just drop in during this season 4 of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, and just try and keep not exactly a live update, but as soon as possible to airing, just our thoughts and takes on the show. And if you'd like to join in with us, that would be great. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share. Come join us in a conversation. We would love to talk with you on that. So that being said, it's been a long waiting for season 4 of Skinwalker Ranch to come back. Dude, I gotta say it. At Pensacon, got to talk to Dragon for a few minutes, and all they could say is just wait for this season. Just wait for this season. Right. So Dragon, that was cool to meet you, and it looks like we're off to a good start. So
exactly.
I want to get the elephant.
This is going to be filled with spoilers, more than likely.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes. Episode 1. If you haven't watched the first episode of Skinwalker Ranch, don't watch this, because I cannot keep my mouth shut about this.
No,
I keep walking away from the guy at work, so I wouldn't ruin it for him.
Yeah. So that being said, yes, we are spoiling. This is an after show discussion. This is the after talk, basically, of Skinwalker Ranch. But I want to get the elephant in the room out of the way. The biggest thing was the reveal of Travis actually working for the government. Now, he alluded to this last season. I know, shocking, right? You had actually... Right? That you speculated that early on when we started watching this show, like at the first season. What if he actually, surprise?
Yeah, like, well, no, the guy's worked. He's even,
he was the head of the UAP task force.
The thing was looking at the Tic Tac videos. So that's who Travis Taylor was.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna say, the way they presented this in the show, I think, was for dramatic effect, to build some sort of fake tension, because, well, this was last year. Travis is very much still part of the team. So, they've worked all of this out. They worked it out before he even showed up at the ranch.
Definitely.
But I get it.
Those guys probably weren't even really shocked.
Yeah, but I would be upset. I'd be a little concerned. It's like, because you came in, how much are you feeding back to the government, and how much are you keeping now from us? And that's my point that I was trying to make. I think early, even before we watched this episode, is I got nothing against Travis Taylor. Everybody, I like the
guy. His job is to do science, right?
Mm-hmm. Science.
One skeleton of cadaver would say science. And I understand disclosures where you have to, non-disclosure agreements. I get that.
Yeah. And classified information.
He may have been in a hard situation, but something tells me he was told to take the job. Something tells me that it was offered to him, Fugel or whoever went to him, and his bosses, Travis's bosses, said, take that job and report back to us. That's nasty, if that's how it happened. If not, there's no telling, because I like Travis Taylor. I love watching that. He wants to shoot rockets at everything.
I know, right? And they do.
He wants to just shoot out rockets.
And he gets to. I've never went and looked at his other show. I think it's called Alabama Rocket Man. It was something he did.
Seen that, no.
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. But I think it was last season, or maybe even season 2. Travis is it's at a meeting when they're at Brandon's office, and they're in the meeting room in Salt Lake City. And Travis says he's been approached by the government.
Yeah.
He's basically saying they're talking to him. So I can't help but think that at least Brandon Fugel knew that Travis was with, and I think everybody else did too.
Yeah. Brandon doesn't strike me as a guy that got where he's at today by being foolish. Travis has not gotten to where he is today by being foolish. And I said the same thing to my old lady last night when we were talking. Now, like, I know it sounded like I was harping on Travis just a second ago, and that's not what I'm saying. it's a hard situation to be in.
Oh, absolutely.
But, like I was a manager one time at a store that made a lot of money every day. It was like $1 million a day store, lots of money. There were certain things that I was friendly to my associates, but there were just things I couldn't talk to them about. Just I couldn't. Like if I knew something going on with somebody else, I'm not going to sit there and talk to you about it. It's not A, it's none of your business, but B, I'm just not supposed to do that, and it's not going to happen. And some people would get upset, like, well, we're friends. I'm like, no, I'm your boss. Then I'm your friend. For
Yeah.
Travis, he's thinking he's been in the government for 30 years. That's my main job. My main job is to report back if we find something really effing dangerous here. He found some weird shit. I'm sure he went to somebody and went,
well, he said he did.
Some weird shit.
Yeah. He
and,
said he did go to him.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Really, you got those guys out there on that ranch that are looking around going, what the hell is this? And I honestly think Travis more than once looked at something and went, I have no idea what can do this, what can do that. And he even says he asked his lead, his contact guy at the Pentagon, okay, is this ours? Is it not ours? And when all was said and done, legally, I guess they had to tell him it's our stuff or it's the enemy's stuff.
They didn't know whose it was.
And they looked at him and said, we don't know what this is.
Now what we're referring
to stuff is you're telling us. Kind of thing. So
what we're referring to, folks, is the 1.6 gigahertz signal. And this is something that Travis had, and I forget who was with him at the time. They went to a radio station in a prior season and they broadcast the 1.6 gigahertz signal into the air, across the airwaves, and there was a massive UAP event after that. It was pretty wild. That night. I mean, just right when that happened. So there was multiple instances of that 1.6 gigahertz coming up, and that's what Travis had went to the Pentagon with, and it has come back that it wasn't ours, and they don't know whose it is, basically, and it's not our enemies or our adversaries. So
they don't know who it belongs to, which is kind of creepy if you really think about it.
So they get.
I'm looking for something.
Yeah, so they. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but they.
No, it's okay. So am I.
They end up going back to the Mesa, basically in the Triangle area this time with a helicopter, and going to use LiDAR again, but from the helicopter circling over and rising and trying to take a reading of basically using the LiDAR reading of the area and trying to see. I think they were trying to see inside because they got the impression, and I still don't know how they made this leap, that there's this dome-like thing in there. I'm just like...
Well, inside the Mesa?
Yeah.
Well, it's because of the way they were drilling sideways, it kept going down. Yeah. And then it started eventually, instead of going down and then
that's right,
straight across.
I remember
and then
that.
Popping back up because something would be square. It was going down and kind of doing that. And the guy's been doing the drilling for 30 years. He knew how the thing was bending. You know, he could tell how it was
however,
so that's how they got the curve.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm quite the skeptic. And I saw this last night that, I mean, they want to believe so much that when Travis was showing the thing on the screen from the LiDAR, he said, look, it's got a shape. It's got a fucking blob. You know, it's like, dude, I know you want it to be something, but I really don't think it was. But you know what? I could be wrong. And that's why I watch. I do believe there's something there and they're coming up against it. But I would be the same way because I'm a believer. If I'm there and I start to see some strange things, I'm going to make these leaps as well. So, and I do appreciate when they make those leaps, they go test it.
As the helicopter was going around, the thing was getting buffeted.
Oh, yeah.
By the winds that weren't there, because the helicopter pilot, Brandon's brother,
Cameron.
See if his name's
Cameron.
Yeah. Cameron is like looking at it going, these winds, they don't even exist. I don't know.
Yeah, they weren't enough to be pushing the helicopter.
And then when they flew out a little bit further to go around, and they kept having the helicopter go around, the winds kind of died down, but then they would change direction. And they'd be hitting them from the front and from the back, and that shouldn't be. That just shouldn't be happening at all.
They were calling that a vortex.
what I think they were trying to do, what it looked like to me, is if you remember last season, they did the LiDAR and they
Mhm.
had that thing coming up in the middle.
Right, that
That's what they were
anomaly.
trying to, yeah, that's the anomaly they were taking readings of. They weren't shooting down so much as they were
Right.
shooting straight across.
Right, and that's
And
where they
when
did
they
pick
shot
up
straight
some.
across is when they started picking up some of the stuff and that one red dot that was almost dead center.
Mhm.
But the
That
funny
was
thing is,
interesting.
that's the one that was interesting. The one that they were kind of iffy on was the other one that they said was like a shadow,
Mhm.
like that they were shadowing. But Travis was like, "Yeah, but it's behind us. It's not. It's not like it's next to us and it's just following us the whole way. This thing followed us from behind,
Mhm.
but
And stopped.
then
And
kind of went back, then
well,
went back or stopped,
that's
which I
one of
thought
the
was a,
yeah, that's one of the things they brought up was,
mm,
hey, this could be a reading because it's hitting my shoes or hitting the chopper blade.
yeah,
And Travis is like, or one of them was saying, if that was the case, then wouldn't it be everywhere? And it
yeah.
wasn't. So that
The whole
was
Mr. Thomas, I believe, said that.
Thomas. Yeah. Yeah.
Thomas is, again, I bring up this series Eureka. The sheriff in Eureka had the common sense, and all the scientists were like blowing shit up, and the sheriff was like, "Hey, maybe you guys shouldn't mix, all this stuff together." And Thomas is that guy. Thomas is the guy who looks around at a situation and goes, "Hey, maybe if you guys didn't do that, but you did this, it might work." And then all the scientists look at him and go, "Holy crap, maybe you're right. Let's go do that." Go do what Thomas said. And it's interesting to listen to this guy who's just got a lot of horse sense
Hmm.
talk to a guy and evidently are very friendly he's very friendly with Travis. So they seem
Hmm.
like they're, I don't think it's for show. I've seen stuff off camera
Yeah.
or not part of the show and seen stuff, and they seem like they're actually bros, like really get
Yeah.
along well. I like that. And I think it's telling for both of these guys, or all of them really, to, I mean, face it. At least Travis can talk down. Like if Travis is telling me about wormholes, I'm going to get it because he's going to explain it like Star Trek.
He
He's going
does.
to come down to my level and go, "This is remember Star Trek in episode 92, whenever da da da." Then he does this, and I'm going to be like, "Oh shit, yeah, okay, I get it now." That's how he can explain it, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
And for him to be able to talk to normal, and I say normal people like you and I, and I think Thomas is a normal guy, and Dragon, these are normal guys.
Mhm.
Eric and Travis are, you know, they're a lot smarter than, like, book smarter than I'll ever be,
Yeah.
you know?
They have a different set of
So I
skills.
can
They're
appreciate that.
the more scientific, technological
Right.
approach. But one of the things that's interesting, you mentioned that if you go back to like the first season, Travis starts rambling off, and it might have been Eric or Dragon. It's
Mhm.
like, hey, English or something
Yeah.
like that.
I have
It's like,
no
I don't
idea what
understand.
you're talking about. I
Yep.
think it's Dragon is looking at him going, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then later on, I think Thomas says something like, "Yeah, could you dumb it down for the normies in the room," kind of thing.
Yeah, something
Like I
like
have
that.
no
Yeah.
idea. Yeah, that you're talking science. Big words. Stop it.
So I
But
want to I want to mention
go
that
ahead.
that's one of the things that I appreciate about this show is we talk. So they found the anomalies up there. One of the things that they wanted to do,
Mhm.
and you and I always joke about Travis shooting rockets because it's like, oh well, shoot a rocket at it. So guess what? They're
Yeah,
going to shoot a rocket
yeah.
again. But
While they're in the helicopter, in the air, with a guy hanging out of the helicopter
well, this is what
with
I
LiDAR.
appreciate is
Love
the
that.
science. It's okay. They're testing things.
Right.
You may not agree with what they're finding, but they're going through the steps. Okay, we don't know what this is.
Mhm.
Let's try this. Let's try to
Yeah.
get a reaction from this. Let's do
Right.
this. And I like seeing that. One of the things that I saw, I think it was somebody had asked Brandon Fugel on Twitter. I forget what the question was, but I just remember his response saying, in his agreement with the History Channel, they're under contract. They can't fake anything. Everything has to be
Right.
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 So I do believe that's what we're seeing is some real anomalies and everything. And it's
Yeah.
pretty wild.
And I agree. And the one anomaly that I don't understand, this happened last season, so I'm sorry if I keep going backwards, folks. But they shot a rocket into the air. The camera is on the rocket, Thomas has got binoculars. He's watching it, and the thing just disappears. I mean, this rocket,
Yeah.
it's there, and then it's not. They mentioned it once. So I want to know what happened. I want to see the
I know.
behind the scenes footage of that. That's what I want to know. That's what I'm looking at.
Right.
That's what I'm going, why aren't you guys talking about that again? You know, that thing literally just disappeared. So, but this time, helicopter in the air, getting buffeted, shoot the rocket, shoots the rocket. It's like that anything could happen, honestly, because every time they shoot a rocket, a UFO shows up.
Yep.
They shot a rocket while they're in a helicopter getting buffeted around by whatever the hell's going on.
Exactly.
And it's like anything, literally anything could have happened. And
Yeah.
I was just sitting there thinking, that's ballsy. Really, honestly, that's ballsy of Travis, ballsy of
But
the chopper pilot,
yeah.
ballsy of the one guy, the LiDAR guy,
Yeah.
who's been on the show several times. And I like his reaction whenever they're like, well, we're going to go up in the air and you're going to hang out of the helicopter with the LiDAR taking your readings. And he's like,
if you let me.
Isn't that when UFOs show up? Yeah, don't worry about that. And he's just like, okay. Okie dokie, let's go. I'm sorry if I'm doing a bad Travis imitation. I love that guy.
It's yeah. So that's basically what all goes down in this episode is this first set of experiments, and then just getting out of the way that Travis actually worked for the government. But if you've been following anything, you've known he's worked for the government for a while now.
Yeah,
so
for 30 years. He worked with NASA. He worked with one of the big rocket companies.
Yeah.
And here's something interesting, and this is what I started to before I got sidetracked with shiny objects and one of those. With Travis, this is a two-way street for him, and I think everybody already knew or kind of figured, okay, what's going on? You know, this is weird. Can you find out anything for us, Travis? Kind of thing. I think there were a lot of private conversations that are never going to be shown on film. But the thing with Travis is this is a two-way thing. He was working for the government and a private contractor. He can do things with Brandon Fugel legally and without any real attachment other than a non-disclosure agreement that he probably can't do in the government.
Right.
And then there's probably some stuff that he could do in the government that he would never be able to afford to do, even with all the money Brandon's got.
Yeah.
So on that, you're sitting here looking at the scientist. It's like, I know there's something out there. I want to be the guy to figure out what it is. And these guys want to be the guys to figure out what it is. And by God, I'm no hell or high water, I'm going to find out. So with that said, and like I know the first one I first started talking about, Travis is like, oh, that untrustworthy SOB. No, that's not what I meant at all. But what I'm saying is the guy,
right?
It's his job.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
Sometimes you just go do your job, and if it gets you what you need without hurting anybody, great. Because I'm sure he told a lot of shit that to the government whenever they were there, like this radar, this radiation's hitting this guy got in the head. He's got fucking. You just watch the show, you'll see it. And all these guys, these government guys, are like, is it bullshit or is it real? And he's like, it's real. Mm-hmm. Like whatever's going on out here is real.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Here's something to note.
If I was a government guy, that would worry me. If Travis looked at me and went, I don't know what this is. Dude, you helped us get shit to Mars. I don't know what this is. That would worry me as a government agent.
Yeah. Well, here's something to note. When Travis got there in the first season, he was skeptical. So a lot of things had changed. But on this episode, that's honestly just about it. They've prefaced what's going to happen with drones. They're going to do a drone swarm up in that area.
That looks awesome. That looks like it's
that looks really awesome. I think we've got a lot of reveals coming ahead. So this was just kind of a slow episode, nothing major. Definitely check it out, folks, to see what's going on. Dave and I are fans of the show. I got sucked into it couple of years ago after you mentioned it, and it's like I can't get enough. It's so intriguing to me. So damn cool.
Fun. It's fun. It's entertaining. And
It's scary.
it really makes you, even if you don't believe any of it. Let's say you're just looking at this going, "Oh, come on. Don't watch the Kardashians. Watch this.
Thank you.
This is good." Don't I mean this will make you at
This
least
has
open your
science.
mind and think about, yeah, this has science. This will make you open up your
It's
mind
got
and think a
rockets
little
and
bit. Like,
aliens
look,
and science.
got a guys who just shoot off rockets and stuff all the time.
It's got dead cows.
Yeah, a couple of dead cows, bunch of UFOs. What more could you want? What more could you?
Yeah.
But
So
seriously, it's entertaining and makes you really think about stuff in general. Like,
absolutely.
okay, but what is this thing that they're dealing with? I want to see them go to the one that's lower to the ground because there's
Yeah.
a vortex or a hole near the Indian sacred
they've never
ground.
went in there, or they've never shown going in there. Really, just that outside of it that time. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, why aren't you guys at that one you can walk to? You don't have to have a helicopter.
That means they've been in there.
That's where everybody's coming from.
Yeah, they've been there. They've been there.
The ones that are walking are coming from here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. Come on, Travis and guys.
Get in that hole. So anyway, thanks for joining us, folks. We'll be back next week, hopefully on Thursday, with our recap, because we do not have cable and we have to wait a day to watch it. We watch on Wednesday. The show will be up on Thursday. Dave and I have to work because you guys won't subscribe. So anyway, thanks. And we'll catch you next week.
Have a good night.